Hi everyone, so for today's video, I'm going to do a DIY potting mat. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I love to repot my plants indoors, especially in my bedroom. But I got to be honest, it can get really messy and cleanup is a pain afterwards. So by having a potting mat, it will hopefully minimize the mess and make up cleanup a lot easier for me, and probably is going to be a lot cheaper or maybe cost just the same if I go ahead and buy one from Amazon or Etsy instead of DIYing one. But I want to DIY a potting mat so that it can be the size that I want and also decorate it with the designs that I want. And in my mind, it's going to be a very easy and quick DIY since all I have to do is to cut the mat to size and put the fasteners and then put the decorations or the designs that I want using my Cricut. But usually when I attempt an easy DIY, I ran into roadblocks and some difficulties that makes the project a little bit longer or a little bit more difficult than expected. But if all goes according to plan, which I'm kind of confident it would be, I'm going to repot my Cebu blue pothos using my potting mat. So that's what we're going to do today. But before we start, if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Marian. Welcome to My Wasteless Life, where I take you along my houseplant journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. And I also create lifestyle content that's focused on sustainability, productivity, and wellness, as well as share my personal and travel vlogs here and there. So if that type of content interests you, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel before the end of this video. And also like this video and comment down below to share with me your thoughts. I would love to read them. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So there are essentially two things that we need to create this DIY potting mat. First is this. I got this from IKEA. This is supposed to be a drawer liner, and it is 59 by 20 inches, which I think is big enough for the size of potting mat that I want to use. So this one is kind of made of plastic, I believe, so it's going to be durable, but it's also very bendy, which makes it great for a potting mat. And I think most of the potting mats sold are also made from the same materials, and I got this for $5 at IKEA. And to turn that into a potting mat, we need snap fasteners. And I got this one from Michael's. This one is about like $5 for a set of 7. And this is the heavy duty snaps. And you need tools to be able to attach it to tarp or anywhere that you need to attach it to, which is this one, and this is about $3 and some cents. And because I had a Michael's coupon, I did get a 20% off discount on this. So together, this is probably about $6 in all. So with the tarps, I spent about like $11, $12, which is not bad, especially since I will be able to create a potting mat that is custom to my needs and wants. And for tools, we're gonna need a pair of scissors or some type of cutter, maybe some clips to help hold the potting mat, a cutting mat if you have one. And for me, since I want to decorate it, my Cricut materials along with my Cricut maker. So that's pretty much what we need to create this DIY potting mat. So let's go ahead and make it. So first thing that I did is to cut the mat to the right size. This was 20 by 54 inches, and I just went with a 20 by 30 size of a mat, and I'm just gonna use the leftover for something else. And then after that, I measured maybe 2 to 3 inches from the edge to create the corners, pinch them together, and hold them temporarily with clips. And I did that for all 4 corners, and it was a little bit tricky at first, but I had to make sure that it was all even or as close to even as possible so that the potting mat would lay flat. So that is the size of the potting mat and what she would look like once I put on the fasteners on the corners instead of the clips. And I had to bring the project outside for this part because there's going to be hammering involved and I don't want to break the granite counter. And it's also confusing to figure out which part goes with what part since the instructions in the packaging wasn't that clear. But once I figured that out and also determined where I want the snap fasteners, I used a screwdriver to poke a hole on where I want it to go, and I made sure to poke the hole on both sides because I want them to properly line up. And after that, it's just hammering the pieces together in all 4 corners. But the tricky part is to make sure that you get it right each time because there's essentially no do-overs. Once you start hammering, it kind of like snaps into place, and it's hard to like repeat the process without damaging the whole thing or having to use another set of snap fasteners in order to do it. So just be careful and take your time if you're gonna use snap fasteners. Okay, so here is the potting mat all done. And yeah, I did have trouble putting this, but once I figured out it worked pretty well. Hopefully it stays, and like the middle part is not standing up too much, but that's okay. I think over time it will just learn to bend. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would probably create a strap so when I roll it, it has a strap, but it's gonna be like the same process. This is the design that I'm gonna put in a potting mat, at least for now. I might add like some stair leaves or just like, you know, more planty stuff later on, but we'll see how this does when I'm repotting, because I don't want it to like obstruct the potting or snag with soil and stuff when I am repotting stuff on a potting mat. So we'll see how this does, and then if it does okay, I'll add more decor. So this is the potting mat. I have finished it. So I'm gonna let this cure for a little bit because it is vinyl before I actually use it. So I'm gonna have lunch first, and then I'm going to repot the Cebu Blue Pothos. So it is the next day, and I am going to pot up my Cebu Blue Pothos. So let's go ahead and do that. I just have to snap the corners. There we go. So I think this one's fine. I let it cure overnight. That's why I didn't pot yesterday like I said I would. But, all right. Just get the snaps on. And the last one. Okay, I'm just gonna so there you go. So I'm repotting the Cebu Blue Pothos into a self-watering planter because I don't want to really upgrade the size of this, but this also gets dried out pretty quick because I know it's already like super root bound. So I'm going to repot it in a self-watering planter. So I'm like just trying to dig into this to grab the plant, and there you go. So as you can see, this is the root system. It is very root bound, and I'm trying not to like super disturb it. So I'm just gonna like plop it into the self-watering planter and then just fill it with soil, just like that. There we go. So what I am using is this Miracle Grow potting mix that is for cactus, palm, and citrus. So this one has like peat moss, sand, and perlite. So that makes it a little bit more fast grading, but since it's in a self-watering planter, it's good so that it doesn't absorb too much moisture. But also what I'm doing, so see with the potting mat, I could just like dump it in here and not have to worry about it. I am gonna add a little bit more perlite to it because I don't think there's enough perlite. And normally I would have a tool to mix this, but I'm just gonna use my hands. There we go. And then just like shove it all the way to the side. So I like the size of this potting mat because it gives me a lot of room to work with. And a lot of the potting mats for sale are like kind of small. All right, so I'm just putting soil in between. And there we go. Just have to, there it is, and I just have to put water in the water reservoir, and I'm gonna do that in a second. But first, let us clean up. And now that I have the potting mat clean up, is so much easier now. All I have to do is gather the soil in the middle, There you go. This is my soil bag. I'll just slide it down a little bit so it's easier to do so I can get it on camera. But I just have to like fold it and dump it in. So easy. And ta-da! That's it. All clean. And I just have to wipe it down a little bit for some of the residue. But that's awesome. So that is like, cleanup is so easy now that I have a potting mat, and repotting so easy just using a paper towel wet. And as you can see, the vinyl doesn't come off, it doesn't peel. So that is great, and voila. And now I just have to like make sure it's dry before I fold it up. And I haven't created a strap for it, but I think I have a couple upstairs that I could use. But right now, I'm just using a rubber band. But I'm definitely gonna make a strap because it's easier than using this rubber band. But yeah, here's my potting mat. And that's how I created my DIY potting mat, and also repotted my Cebu blue pothos. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you're going to recreate this DIY potting mat, let me know down in the comments how well it turned out for you. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you subscribe. I come up with videos every week. And if you haven't yet, check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you, I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have a plantiful day. Bye!